in Washington. Catherine?
Well, thank you, Sandra. Good morning. The Inspector General's report puts Director Comey's leadership style under the microscope, with the Inspector General exploring whether Comey went beyond his authorities in July 2016 when he publicly discussed the Clinton email investigation and recommended against criminal charges at this event, a responsibility that fell to his boss, Attorney General Loretta Lynch. We are working to confirm independently a Bloomberg report within the last hour that the IG found Comey went beyond his authorities, damaging the FBI's reputation, and said Comey's decisions were not driven by political bias. Comey testified after he was fired in May 2017 that Lynch's Arizona tarmac meeting with Bill Clinton just days before Hillary Clinton's FBI interview for mishandling classified information was a game changer, in addition to other intelligence that implied Lynch would not let the email investigation go too far. When Fox News caught up with Lynch on Capitol Hill, she refused to answer questions about the email case and other allegations. The report reportedly rebukes Lynch as well for her handling of the federal criminal probe. This morning, the Attorney General said, based on the findings, there may be more firings justified.
I think it'll be a lengthy report and a careful report. It will be released soon, and I think it will help us better fix any problems that we have and reassure the American people that some of the concerns that have been raised are not true. If anyone else shows up in this report to have done something that requires termination, we will do so.
The report began back in January 2017, and based on our reporting, it's more than 500 pages in length, and we expect it to be available to the public at some time later today, Sandra.
And Catherine, you've obtained a House memo in advance of the IG's testimony. What are we learning there?
Well, the memo was prepared, Sandra, by Chairman Goodlatte and Chairman Gowdy in advance of a joint public hearing next week, where the Inspector General Michael E. Horowitz will defend the findings. Fox News has obtained this May 2016 FBI email that is cited in the congressional memo. FBI agent Peter Strzok in the email tells senior FBI executives that it goes too far to say hostile actors gained access to then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's private email account. But he continues, it is more accurate to say we know foreign actors obtained access to some of her emails, including at least one secret, so that's a high level of classification, via compromises of the private email accounts of some of her staffers. That's important to note for some context that when Comey made his public statement in July of 2016, he said it was perhaps likely that the emails were compromised, but no direct evidence had been found. That's why this email we have today appears so significant, Sandra.
Catherine Herridge, thank you for your reporting on that.
You're welcome.
Bill?
Certainly Washington bracing for this report, but before it goes public, the president gets a chance to review it. Kevin Corks at the White House waiting for more information on that now. Kevin, good morning.
Good morning, Bill. White House officials tell us that they haven't hammered down as of this hour the exact timing that the president will receive his briefing on the IG report, although given the intense interest in its findings, it is a certainty that he will receive a full accounting ahead of its release. Early this afternoon, we just received that word from senior White House officials here this morning. That investigation, which began nearly 18 months ago, as Catherine pointed out, really hopes to examine the allegations of misconduct by both the FBI and the DOJ over the Clinton email case. And in particular, they're going to be trying to put the microscope on Jim Comey's leadership, figuring out whether or not Comey essentially outkicked his coverage, if you will, when he publicly discussed that email investigation during the 2016 campaign. Remember, he recommended against criminal charges in his statement, which, frankly, is a judgment that should have been made by the then Attorney General Loretta Lynch. Now, there are reports, Bill, I can tell you, both confirmed and unconfirmed at this hour, that the conclusions offer a fairly damning assessment of the roles played by the former director and the former AG in the Clinton case. And as we continue to uncover and unpack that which we learn here at the White House, of course, I'll be sure to pass them along. But I do want to tell you this as well. Given the enormity of black car traffic that I've been noticing between both the EOB and the West Wing, it's a good bet that the briefing may be taking place at any moment now. Again, that's based on enormous traffic that I'm noticing just beyond the camera here. If we get word of that, of course, I'll be sure to pass it along. But for now, back to you.
You got it, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin Cork from the North Lawn there. We will be back in a moment. Thanks, Sandra.
All right, Bill, thank you. For more on all this with Jason Chaffetz, former Utah congressman and a Fox News contributor. We will listen in if there's any sort of briefing or update from the White House. As Kevin Cork indicated, that could happen at any moment. Meanwhile, based on what you are learning at this moment, your thoughts?
This is an explosive report. Remember what Catherine Herridge just told us, that the FBI actually did know that foreign actors had penetrated and gotten classified information off of these private servers. Remember the whole timing. Initial drafts from James Comey, done well before this exoneration in July. They'd started drafting these things before they'd even interviewed Hillary Clinton. And then during their initial draft, what did they say? It was gross negligence. Then somebody came in and edited that and softened it up. But now we have text messages from the people, the prosecutors, the investigators themselves saying there was a penetration and there was access to classified information off of these servers. This whole investigation started because the Inspector General for the intelligence community said there was classified information in a non-classified setting. And if Director Comey went before Congress and went before the American people and said, well, we really don't know for sure that they got classified information, here we have the internal documents now that say, yes, they did know that.
So what kind of accountability would you expect, or recommendations on the part of Horowitz?
Look, Horowitz is not going to, an Inspector General would never challenge what they make in terms of prosecutorial decisions. Why did they give out so much immunity? Why did they not prosecute? But they will show us the entire pathway leading up there. I think James Comey's legal problems continue to grow because it undercuts his credibility. And when you get into a second investigation, not in the report that's coming out today, but a second investigation being done by the Inspector General right now, when Comey takes classified information from the notes he had when meeting with President Trump and gives them to somebody who doesn't have a proper security clearance, he essentially did exactly what Hillary Clinton did. You can't do that in this country.
And it's going to be amazing to see the fallout and what happens in the short time after this report is made public. We spoke to Alan Dershowitz earlier, and he was talking about how this is setting up potentially a partisan fight. Watch this.
I wonder whether we'll see anything about the close relationship between Comey and Mueller. We know that these people were joined at the hip. And if Comey is criticized, I think the president will get some ammunition for criticizing Comey's protege. This is going to be a partisan fight with Blumenthal on one side and others, and the president's team on the other side. And I think when it becomes a partisan fight, the president wins.
And by the way, the White House was asked for response to this latest Bloomberg report saying that Comey deviated from FBI and Justice Department procedures in handling the Hillary Clinton probe. And the White House has responded through Hogan Gidley, saying that the president is for transparency and, quote, wants American people to see as much as they can as long as it protects the national security interest involved.
Look, I think the president should be briefed not by Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General, but he should be briefed by Michael Horowitz. If you want to go to the source, have the independent confirmation as to what happened and not happened.
Do you think that's what's happening at the White House? I mean, I'm
the news reports were the Deputy Assistant General Rosenstein was going to give the briefing. I don't know for sure, but if it's anybody short of Michael Horowitz, he's probably not going to get as crystal clear of it.
So Congress will get a look at it if they haven't already. The White
Hearings in the Senate on Monday, hearings in the Senate or in the House on Tuesday, followed by a classified briefing. And with all due respect to Mr. Horowitz, he's wrong about how this process works. This report was done. People who actually were friendly and helpful to the investigation, they get a chance to look at their little section. But they don't send this out and say, hey, edit this back for us. The Inspector General doesn't work for the Attorney General. That's the beauty of this. Attorney Generals don't get to do that. So you're going to see the report here in a few hours. It'll be out in the public.
Next couple hours.